Hi everyone, I'm Joseph Guyampan, CEO of Lazarus Rising Games, the company that's putting out the OVERPOWER card game. We've got a very awesome segment today that we're bringing you. We are coming to you live from Collector's Paradise in Canoga Park, California. You're going to notice this gentleman standing next to me. His name is Aaron Schonke. Aaron, you are the director of the Superpower Beatdown videos. Extremely popular videos. I'm sure most of you have seen these. Some of my favorites. That's where they match up two superpowered characters. Some of the ones that I'm sure you've seen are Darth Vader versus Batman.
Yep.
That one's awesome.
Me and my dad, we created and write and put them all together and put them out there for all of you to see.
So look these up. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. Aaron's going to be talking to us a little bit about OVERPOWER, but I also wanted to mention another great project that you have, The Legend of the White Dragon.
Yep, yeah, right here. Legend of the White Dragon, our feature film will be out next year. We've been working on it for a long time and putting everything in it to make sure it's the best it can be. So everyone be on the lookout for that.
Go look up the trailer. I've gotten to see some of the footage in the trailer. It looks awesome. It's going to be amazing. So today, though, we're here to talk a little bit about OVERPOWER, because other than all these amazing things that Aaron's done, it might surprise everyone to know that Aaron was one of the original #1 ranked OVERPOWER players in the United States. When was that at?
Oh, that was back in the 90s. I started playing OVERPOWER, I think, right when it first came out, even before Intellect was introduced. And then that was, I think, in 94. And then played in the regionals and nationals in 96 and 97. So definitely was heavily into OVERPOWER.
You know, one of our founders, Keith Bursack, he was the first #1 ranked player. And then Aaron, I think, was the youngest #1 ranked player that we have had.
At the age of 12. At the age of 12, yes.
So you were going to these national tournaments at 12. What was that like?
Well, at the time, it was just very fun and exciting. Me and my dad went. And now looking back on it, you know, the 12 is so young, and you're playing all these people that are in their, like, 20s and 30s and, you know, college professors, Sherry Briggs and all that kind of stuff. So looking at it now, and I was like, oh, man, that was, like, such a world and such a blessing. But what a lot of people don't know is that OVERPOWER was a huge, heavy influence on Superpower Beatdown.
So tell us a little bit about it. What about OVERPOWER inspired these videos where the two super-powered people are doing battle against each other?
Well, even when OVERPOWER first came out, I mean, there was a lot of other cards that would list, like, power levels and different stuff like that. And some of them weren't the most accurate, whereas OVERPOWER really dived into like, it, you know, listed all the different levels, and it had, you know, a 1 through 8 rating system.
Yep.
And then you had the special cards. And when we were constructing a lot of the battles, we would reflect on characters that were in OVERPOWER and kind of be like, oh, well, that was noted, that was important, you know, and kind of compiling it. I really wish we could have actually used OVERPOWER references in the videos, because I could be like, well, you know, Wonder Woman has an 8 fighting, Wolverine has an 8 fighting, so that's like the pairing. And sometimes fans would be like, why are you making those two characters battle? I'm like, well, if you look at their hero cards, they're very similar, actually. And if you were like, hero card, I'm like, well, yeah, that's all right. You know, so it was very much on the forefront of when we did Superpower Beatdown.
That's amazing. So you've gotten a chance to look at a little bit of the cards. We're going to sit down and play in a minute, but what do you think? You know, give us your honest opinion about what you see here versus kind of what you thought of the original game.
Well, I think it's just, I mean, it's a huge wave of nostalgia. It's great going through it and seeing, like, all the stats on these new cards and all the power levels, the power cards. The art is fantastic. I'm blown away by all these top tier legendary artists that you have doing art. Going through and seeing all these characters drawn like that is amazing. Mark Silvestri, Joe Jesko,
Philip,
and I mean, it's the list, and then some of the people that you guys are in talks with. It's mind blowing. I mean, the game is just work to get it for the art, you know, outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that have reached out, and I think a lot that are pledging the campaign just because they're such fans of the Edgar Rice Burroughs characters.
Yeah. And
we have so many different renditions. You know, we've got a bunch of the classic Joe Jesko art, but you've also got people like Jay Lee's gonna do a alternative art version of Deja Thores from the ERB universe.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really giving a lot of these artists chances to go back, because a lot of us, I mean, they're like me, they grew up reading the Tarzan and the Edgar Rice Burroughs pulp. So it's been really fun to bring this set out.
Very exciting. Well, let's dive in and get our hands wrapped.
Let's play a game, and then we can come back and chat a little bit about how it went, what you thought.
All right, let's do it.
All right, we'll be back. All right, guys, we just had a great game. We just played, and I'm happy to announce still number one. Aaron took the victory and took me down. He played the Zeus deck. What did you think? Tell us about the game. Did it feel like you were playing Overpower again?
It did. It felt very much the same. Seeing the mechanics with the universe cards, the power cards, the specials, basically going over all the spectrum kills, cumulative kills. It was and the missions. It was all having Joe Jesco's art on the mission cards.
Yep.
It was bad super cards. So it was great. It was just like old times, and with a few little updates, but those were nice. That was refreshing. It fixed kind of the things that needed to be fixed, and it's brought it into like a newer sense while still being nostalgia and honoring the past.
That's exactly what we're going for. Almost all the changes that we made, you'll notice that there's things that are different, but they're either clarifying things that weren't wrong in the old game, but took more time to figure out. Like, we've talked a lot about how now the characters have a threat value icon here.
Yeah.
So in the old game, you used to have to add up the stats, and that was the cost of the character. By separating into this icon, it allows you to consider things other than just their stats. So we get to consider their specials. We get to consider, like, do they have multiple 7s or 8s on their grid? But we still, within that, our design theory is within that space, the threshold for your team is still the same. So your team is still 76 points. And what that allows us to do is offer a game that's 100% compatible with the original. Because you can still take an old character and you can add up their grid. You're going to get a number that's between 15 and 23. That's the general range. That's the same range that our characters. That's kind of what we've tried to do, is you're going to sit down and play. And like you said, we're hoping everyone feels this just feels like playing Overpower, but it makes things a little bit easier for the player.
I like those icons on the side where it lasts all game and it lasts in the battle. And also you're very meticulous about the word usage in terms of, because before it was a litly vague with how they used the nows and verbs, but now it's very clear of what you're avoiding, what the target is. The attention to detail on the game is very clear. It's very nice.
I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I'm glad we got to show you the game. I do want to plug our Kickstarters. It's going to be going till November 14th, so I hope you guys will check out the game, jump in at some level and give it a try. It's a really beloved game. We've got a bunch of huge IPs. Yep. We've announced Top Cow. We announced this first set. We're working with Edgar Rice Burroughs. We still haven't announced it yet, but we have our biggest IP that we have out of the 3. Still hasn't been announced, but I'm hoping by the time this video comes out, it'll say it in the text below, and we'll have already made the announcement.
It's all very exciting. I can't rave about Overpower enough. Growing up and playing it with my dad and learning how to build the deck, and it's all the numbers and the strategy. It's really not only just made an impact in terms of just the enjoyment in my childhood, but also really affected me actually now as an adult and how I manage my film career and finances and move through life. Overpower, I would recommend for all ages. If you have kids, get them involved. If you played it when you were younger and you want to get back into it, definitely get back into it. It's a lot of fun. It's just as great as I remember, and I hope the Kickstarter blows up and you do 8 more series.
Overpower lives.
Go to the Kickstarter and contribute, and let's make this happen.